Welcome to the Spiritual Awareness Journey platform, a virtual spiritual talk program where the practical applications of all things spiritual in our daily living is shared and discussed by experienced speakers from all walks of life and realized souls. This is brought to you by the Manav Dharam YouTube channel. I am your host, Janvi Nanda, and we are delighted to welcome you from all around the world to spend this 1 hour with us, addressing this week's topic, Spiritual Awakening. We are honored to have 3 speakers who will share their practical spiritual application in their daily living, in their life with us. We as humans belong to this one race, the human race. And as the human being, we yearn to belong and understand the purpose of our life and of our journey. We hope this hour will inspire you and raise the awareness of the need for connectivity with each other, with the spirit, and with our own true self. That is part and parcel of the divine essence, our true source. And that by acquiring spiritual knowledge, we can start our own practical spiritual awareness journey, expanding our spiritual potentials and our divine consciousness to so find peace, joy, and life purpose, and journeying together to reach our goal, spiritual enlightenment. With no further ado, I wish to introduce to you our first speaker, Cascade Grunenwald. Cascade is a 21-year-old young lady living in Switzerland. She is studying communication and is working part-time with very young children. Cascade is part of the youth group of Manav Dharam in Europe and wishes to share her understanding of spirituality with you.
Thank you very much, Janvi. And thank you all to have come today and sacrificed your time to listen to spiritual discourse, to listen to satsang. So I would like to start my small speech with a small story that one day, all the organs, they came together and they were fighting. Sight was saying, oh, I'm the strongest. Without me, the body cannot see. And the hearing was like, no, I'm the strongest. Without me, without to be able to hear, that person could not hear, so I'm the strongest. After the muscles came, the legs came, and they said, no, with me, without me. I am the strongest because without me, the person would not be able to walk. And the Almighty God was surprised that all the organs came together and that they were fighting. So he came and said, oh, what's wrong? I've all created you for a specific reason. So why are you fighting? So God listened and he's like, oh, you have all these problems and everything, so it's okay, we'll do a test. All of you will go for 1 year in a body and one will stay beside me. So all the organs, they agreed, they were very happy of this conclusion of God, of the Almighty. So it started, that year started. So that person who was chosen became blind for a year. So, of course, life was hard. He was not able to see properly. Of course, struggles came into his life. He was not able to see his loved ones anymore. He was not able to go to the grocery shop easily. He needed help. But after some time, he was able to live a normal life and he was able to be happy. So this sight came back and God asked, so how was it? So how was your experience? Sight explained it was difficult at the beginning, but after some times everything was okay. So God smiled and said, it's okay. Now it's the time of hearing to leave that body for 1 year. So the same experience happened for a year. That single person was deaf for a year and was unable to hear properly. So in the same way, he started his journey. His life was different. It changed. But after some times, he was able to be happy. He was able to live a common life. So again, came back. God smiled and said, "It's okay." Now, after now, the legs, the muscles of the legs will go. So that happened also again. And for that 1 year was even more harder because that person was unable to walk. He always needed help to do everything. But after some time, again, he was able to be happy. So everything was okay. So finally, the breath left. And the moment that the breath left, all the other organs say, no, 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 please stop. And at that precise moment, they realized that without the breath, without this precious breath that we have, none of these organs can work. And if we look, I am today sitting in Switzerland, Janvi sitting in UK, other people are sitting in other parts of the world. And what is that common thing that we have all together? It is our breath. And if we look and study the past in a very positive way, we can see that all the big philosophers of the West, all the prophets of every religion, they came with a message. And that message was a very simple message about to know thyself. Socrates said a very simple word is that man should know thyself. But how is it possible for us to know ourselves? Because if today you ask me, what is your name? Like if you ask me how to introduce myself, I would say I'm a young girl, 21 years old, living in Switzerland. But is that really my true consciousness? Is that what defines who the human beings that we really are? There's something much deeper inside of us. And to be able to experience what is deeper inside of us, to be able to experience this subtle vibration that is giving us life every time we breathe, we have to have a guidance. We have to have a good way to go there. And this is exactly what every prophet and every spiritual master of the past came and taught us. He came and gave us the holy techniques to be able to know ourselves, to experience who we are in reality. Because now I'm awake, so now I'm conscious to say who I am if I'm a girl or a boy. But tonight, when I'll go to sleep and I'll be in a very deep sleep, would I be conscious if I'm a woman or I'm a boy? No, because you are dreaming. You're in another state of consciousness, but you're still alive. So there's still that force that comes and gives you life. And it gives it to me, it gives it to you, and it gives it to every human being with every time that they breathe, wherever you are in the world, whatever kind of social state you have, whatever kind of financial states that you have. And they have that, we have that breath. But the thing is that must be so important, what's very important, is that whenever we are sick, we go to a doctor, and that doctor is alive. He's the one who will treat us, who will give us medicine. And in the same way, if we want to evolve spiritually, with spirituality in our life, we have to attain metaphysical knowledge. Because this subtle vibration, what comes in our breath every time we breathe, is metaphysical. Because of course we can do yoga techniques, we can do exercises, we can do all these kind of things, what's very good for the body, but it stays in a physical way. And if we observe that our body, our mind, our intellect, and our soul, the only thing what is metaphysical is our soul. And this is our true identity. Because when we come into this world after the suffering of our mother who, bury us for a long time in her belly, the suffering that she takes to put us in this world. At that moment, from that moment, we start the journey of the physical world. But this metaphysical vibration, what gives us life every second and every time we breathe, never lets us go. So I today have found the way to connect with that metaphysical power inside of me. And I wish for everybody to find it too. Because as there's like one sun for humanity, as there's one earth for humanity, as there's one water for humanity, is exactly the same. If we call it water in English, de l'eau in my language in French, pani in Hindi, or in so many other languages, that substance is still the same. And this metaphysical knowledge is exactly the same. There is one key, master key to be opened inside of us all to experience the ocean of compassion and love inside of us. So my time is up, so I have to start speaking. And I just have to say one small thing is that we'll be blessed with the discourse of Mahatma Suvidya Bai Ji. So let's listen to Bhaiji. Let's us all listen, me including, in a very positive way. And let's not hesitate if we have questions, because when there's no stupid question, any question can be answered in a very beautiful way. So this is all that I have to say today. Thank you very much for listening to me, and have a beautiful program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Cascade, for your enlightening words. I particularly grasped onto your message about knowing thyself, and when you said what defines us, it's not our name, it's not our age, not our location, it's something inside of us. So I thought this was a very good question, and I hope it provokes some sort of thought in all of you listeners today, because that's what it did for me. So thank you, Cascade. Now we will continue with our second speaker, Sadhna Singh Hamchander. Sadhna is from Durban in South Africa. She is a facilitator, a life coach, and mentor with Heal Your Life. She also holds workshops assisting the participants to transform their lives by teaching self-love and self-acceptance. She is also a motivational speaker for Manav Dharam Women's Group, hoping to contribute to uplifting women in the society. I now invite Sadhna to begin her satsang.
Namaste, beautiful beings of light. I am grateful for this opportunity to share my experience and my understanding on spiritual awakening. From the time we conceived, we are programmed into ways of thinking and being. You see, a belief is a thought that we continue to think, and our beliefs work for us. All the beliefs that we have accumulated has been from the time we were conceived, and it has been accumulated by people that we are surrounded with by our parents, by our family, by our teachers, by our sibling. So their ways of thinking and their belief systems has been accumulated and stored in our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind is awake 24/7, 365, and it takes everything literally, even jokes. So our subconscious mind is our storehouse, it's a hard drive, and it stores all our experiences, okay, and its operation from the time of conception. So in times of difficulties, in times of diversity, in times of circumstances, this data will show up, for it's on autopilot. Sometimes we have an argument with someone, and we could bring up things that happened 20, 30 years ago. And this happens because we have stored emotions. Of what happened, we have stored that emotion and we don't let it go. And when we store our emotions, those emotions can turn up into different pants and shirts, different people, different dresses, and even different circumstances in our life. So when we have positive thoughts and when our words are positive And when we affirm positive languages, then our life somewhat works for us. If we read and watch happy movies, if we laugh, if we dance, if we sing, if we meditate, and if we listen to songs that have beautiful meanings, and if we fill ourselves with joy, then all this is stored in our subconscious mind. And in the time of crisis, this will show up as emotional strength. However, if we do listen to negative news, negative messages, and if we are angry and stressed, then, you know, and if we're angry and stressed, then we are allowing everything from the outside to affect us internally. You see, our thoughts create a frequency, and our thoughts create our feelings and our emotions. And our emotions are vibrational, and our emotions are magnetic. So when we have a thought, and that thought creates an emotion, and that emotion goes out into the universe and attracts back to us exactly what we are feeling. When I began my spiritual journey, I was absorbed in rituals. And I had the belief that God, the source energy, was outside. And when I began meditating, I had beautiful experiences. However, I had a difficulty to commit to meditation, for I was still in love and still, still focused on the rituals. There's nothing wrong with rituals. In fact, I am extremely thankful for my mom for teaching me to practice rituals with so much of love and dedication. For that love and dedication that I had for rituals, I have brought it into my life and into my everyday life and into everything that I do. However, rituals do have a different meaning for me now. An awakening really began with me when I was ready and I was willing to let go of baggages. And by baggages, I mean when I was ready to let go of anger, when I was ready to let go of resentment, when I was ready to let go of hurt, when I was ready to let go of pain, when I was ready to let go of ego. And as I let go of all that I was not, my true authentic self was revealed. I became more aware of my thinking, and I began to change my thoughts. And as I began to change my thoughts, um, my perception of life changed as well. And there was more awareness of what I thought and what I did. And the body pain that I complained about so often, that began to heal. And the benign brain tumor that I had, that dissolved. And life began to flow with somewhat grace. You see, our body is a chemical producing plant. When you go to the doctor and sometimes your blood pressure is high, the doctor will want to know, what are you stressing about? And we get stressed and we get angry when people and things are not our way. See, our thoughts influence the function of our body. So when we have positive thoughts, our body produces chemicals that heal. So, and when we judge, when we blame, when we criticize, and when we have negative thoughts and when we have sad thoughts, then this depletes the body of the healing chemicals, and then we need to take medication. On the spiritual part, it doesn't mean that there are no problems. In this human form, we are here to experience life. And when life's challenges does approach us, then instead of reacting, we learn to respond and we move away from blame and we stop being the victim in our lives. We cannot respond to the same conditions in our life with the same thoughts and same emotions. And if we do, then we are reaffirming the same life situations. It has taken us many years to accumulate the beliefs that we have. And to bring new ways of thinking and new ways of being means that we have to start creating new thought patterns. And it is a process of reprogramming. It's a process of self-reflection. It is a process of creating awareness and changing beliefs. It takes time, it takes love, it takes patience with yourself. We are all at different levels of consciousness. We all think differently. We all have different life experiences. We all have different circumstances. And some of us are able to let go of what holds us back by sitting in meditation and creating awareness. However, some of us need to work with ourselves on another level. So find a way that is comfortable for you to work with and release what you are not so you can experience your your true self. Resistance prevents us from change, and resistance prevents our consciousness from expanding. So don't let resistance stop you from making changes. You always have a choice whether you want to remain where you are or whether you need to change. When you meditate, you connect with the energy within and you surrender to this present moment. This present moment is really all that we have. And if we take the past and we think about the past in this present moment, we are actually creating that for our future. And we cannot heal the past by thinking about it unconsciously recalling and focusing on what happened. Okay. However, if we focus on the problems of life and we focus on what's not happening in life, then we are creating those problems in our life. Okay. And if we focus on the beauty, if we focus on the beautiful nature, and at this moment, there's so much of assistance that's rendered in the form of food, medication, vaccines, clothes that's been handed out. If we focus on the goodness of people, then life will flow with ease and we create better experiences for ourselves. So acknowledge the energy within you and acknowledge that this energy transforms our every thought into experiences. In the past, we focused on what we did not want and unknowingly used this energy to create things we didn't want to experience. We were not aware of what we were doing. And as we learn about this power, as we learn about this energy, we become aware that we need to learn to use this in positive ways. We learn that the love that we search for on the outside is actually within us. And when we learn to love ourselves, then life somewhat works in our favor. Loving ourselves means having deep appreciation for who we are. When we surrender to this present moment, we know that we are not all that the world has taught us to be, and neither are we all the labels that are attached to our name. We realize that the energy that is present within us is the same energy that is present in all of life. So find ways on how to work with yourself, find ways on how to connect with that energy within you, and have the beautiful experiences, have the beautiful experience of that oneness. Thank you for listening. Namaste.
Thank you, Sadhna, for your words of wisdom. I particularly liked the part where you're talking about positive thoughts and how they are stored in our unconscious mind. And in times of crisis, they give us that strength to continue to carry on. We can relate that to the crisis happening in the world at the moment with COVID, where we can use those positive thoughts to give us that strength to push through this time of hardness and hardship. And a lot of people are spending a lot more time at home. We have a lot more time to journey within ourselves and to explore that subconscious mind. Thank you very much. We are now delighted to present to you a song, Gentle Hand, composed by the late Jeffrey Kahn. This is performed by the Shillong group. Please enjoy.
Gentle hand, rest upon my aching head and let the storm re-end. Gentle hand, ease the pain that comes from thinking shattered words can never mend. Trying to be so lonely instead of free, trying to see my own world. Please let me be within your loving light. Please let me be around you. Lord, I found you. And now, as the once trim veil of loneliness is cast away, light, as it shines from deep inside, begins to find its way. Open my heart, I'm waiting to be free. Open my eyes, I see you. You were my life before my life began. You are the eyes I see through. Lord, I need you. Lord, I need you. Lord, I need you, I need you, I need you. Lord, I need you. Open my heart, I'm waiting to be free. Open my eyes, I see you. You were my life before my life began. You are the eyes I see through. Lord, I need you. Lord, I need you. Open my heart, I'm waiting to be free. Open my eyes, I see you. You were my life before my life began. You were the eyes I see through. Lord, I need you.
Thank you so much for this absolutely beautiful rendition of the song Gentle Hand. Thank you very much to the Shillong group, an amazing background they filmed this song in, and a very emotional, thought-provoking song. I hope you all enjoyed. As we are coming to the end of our Spiritual Awareness Journey program, we are honored to present to you with a joyous heart our last speaker, a realized soul, Mahatma Suvidya Bai Ji. Mahatma Suvidya Bai Ji is an enlightened saint from Haridwar in India. She is a disciple of the spiritual master Sri Bhaiji Maharaj, the spiritual head of the Manav Dharam organization. She has successfully provided spiritual enlightenment for the past 2 decades in various parts of India, Kenya, South Africa, Canada, and Australia. Her mission is to uplift the soul of man by rendering spiritual discourses on the essence of all scriptures and teaching meditation and yoga to aspirants. Please let's receive her words with an open heart and mind. Thank you, Mahatma Suvidya Bai Ji.
Greetings to one and all. Thank you, Janvi, for introduction. Thank you, Cascade and Sadhna, for inspiring speech. I am privileged to be part of Spiritual Awareness Journey program. Today, I will share my understanding about spiritual awakening. Rumi says, you are not a drop in the ocean, but you are an entire ocean in a drop. Spiritual means relating to human spirit or soul. Awakening means an act or movement of becoming suddenly aware of something. So to be aware of a spirit or soul is a spiritual awakening. A man is made of two entities. First is a physical entity called physical body. And another one is paraphysical body called soul, spirit, or life force. We are much aware about our physical body. Our life moves around with this physical body. Much of our time and attention being spent in the nourishment, in the fitness, or in beautifying the body. Other side, hardly we think of a soul or life force. We ignore the existence of a soul within us. So there is a need, requirement to have a synchronization between these two bodies. Spiritual awakening is a process. First, to acknowledge the energy of soul. Second, to realize the energy of soul. And the third is to utilize the energy of soul in our daily life. First, to acknowledge. All our material status, job, wealth, prosperity, family, friends are worthy or meaningful to us so far we are alive. And the soul or the life force existing within us makes us alive. Then the second thing is to realize the energy of soul is very subtle. And there is a way to experience or to realize it. As we all are going through pandemic of coronavirus and someone got the symptom, then we go for a test. And the lab will find out the subtle coronavirus in the nerves with the help of special instrument called microscope. So in the same way, there is a microscope kind organ in the body which is called third eye or divine eye, which is situated in between two eyebrows, between of our middle of our two eyebrows. And through this third eye, we can realize the energy of soul. And the third eye is a gateway to enter in spiritual or paraphysical realm. And for that knowledge, seekers go to paraphysics scientists called spiritual master. Now the third thing, to utilize the energy of soul in our life. So first is that after tapping into the realm of this spirituality or paraphysical realm, one thing we realize that this realm is above time and space. It is an eternal. There is no duality. And the nature of energy is truth, consciousness, and bliss, Satchit Anand. And with that, this awareness arises within us that I am not a drop in the ocean, but I am an entire ocean in a drop. We are the part of this vast universe. The whole universe is threaded in one cosmic energy. And that brings love, harmony, compassion, empathy, positivity in our life. We feel connectivity with nature. We feel all are sacred. And when with the help of meditation and spiritual practice, we learn how to harness and channelize the energy of soul, then the infinite potential of the energy of soul manifests in our physical body. So spiritual awakening, widening our understanding and vision. Then another example of benefit of using the spiritual awakening is in the function of a brain. There are two brains, left brain and the right brain. And according to scientific studies, the left brain works on logical, methodical, analytical, quantitative, and a repetitious fashion. It is the manager or critical thinker with limited virtues. And due to limited virtues, if overuse get confused and too much load on it may bring insanity. Other side, the right brain. Right brain has extraordinary talents. It is the host of a motor skill, intuition, emotions, music, and credence. It is adventurous and develop new ideas and ways. It is open with unlimited capacity. It looks at the whole situation, and it has a connectivity with cosmic intelligence or cosmic realm. So we need to use both the brain. But the left brain is already active with our material oriented lifestyle, and our right brain needed to be activated. And for activation of our right brain, there is a need of a delta calm waves. And to create the delta waves, we need to stop the fluctuation of mind by entering into this paraphysical physical realm, spiritual realm. So spiritual awakening make us able to use the optimum usage of our two brains. The one more thing, that in our life we always look for is a success. Everyone want to become success in a career, success in study, success in a business, success in profession. And in early 20th century, there was a concept that if you need a success, you need a high IQ, intelligent quotient. Then later, in almost like a mid 1990s, Daniel Goleman brought the concept of emotional quotient. So you don't have to work only with your heart. Sorry, not only to work with your intellect, but you need to work with your heart as well. Emotion matters of yours and others. Then around in 2005, another concept came through the research and study of cognitive science, psychology, and neurology, is of a spiritual quotient. Spiritual quotient is utilized to make the appropriate and unifying usage of IQ and UQ, sorry, IQ and EQ to get the best out of our skills or ability for the betterment of us and the others. And in fact, in the book, Spiritual Intelligence is the Ultimate Intelligence, Dana Johar and her co-author brought more light in a spiritual quotient. So spiritual quotient has a characteristics of flexibility, self-awareness, and ability to face and use sufferings, and ability to work against convention, and ability to cause less harm, and so on. So for success of intelligent quotient plus emotional quotient and spiritual quotient. And by tapping into this spiritual realm, this characteristics or the attributes of a spiritual quotient get manifested. So spiritual awakening widens our understanding and the vision, also helps us to the best function of our body, and also helps us in our personality development. So spirituality is the way to achieve a meaningful, successful, and purposeful life. So let us embark on a awakened journey by visiting our inner, divine, and most amazing realm of soul or spirit. I will conclude my speech with a quote from Rumi: consciousness sleeps in the minerals, dreams in the plants, awakens in the animals, and becomes self-aware in human. Thank you. Thank you for listening my speech.
We are deeply grateful for your kind and generous words, and thank you for sharing these words with us, Mahatma Suvidya Bai Ji. So I will just briefly talk about what Mahatma Suvidya Bai Ji spoke about. She spoke about spiritual awakening being a process, whereas we must acknowledge the energy of the soul, we must realize the energy of soul, and then we must utilize the energy of the soul in our lives. Now, by stopping that fluctuation of the mind, by entering the spiritual realm, we are able to have the optimum usage of both sides of the brain. I thought this was very thought-provoking and has definitely raised a few questions in my mind, so thank you very much. So I would now like to request for 2 minutes of silence, 2 minutes of silence or meditation, just for the wellness of the humanity and for peace on earth. I will then conclude the program today. Thank you all very much for your well-wishing prayers. We are now coming to a closing of the program. I wish to thank you all deeply for your presence. Please feel free to drop us a note. You can use the chat option in the Zoom meeting with your comments. If you have any questions, there is an email address that's been provided in the chat. Please feel free to send us any questions. We will make sure to address these in our next Spiritual Awareness Journey program. Until then, wishing you a very healthy and peaceful journey. Thank you to our sponsor, Manav Dharam YouTube channel. I am your host, Janvi Nanda. Thank you all very much, and hopefully see you all very soon.